Everyone, my name is Divya, and today we are diving into Chapter 6 Qualitative Process Analysis. In business process management, we spend a lot of time mapping out what happens in a process, but this chapter teaches us the art of figuring out why it works, or more often, why it doesn't. We'll be looking at the key tools business analysts use to transform a tangled process into a streamline. Our journey today is structured around the core toolkit of the qualitative analyst. We'll start with the fundamentals, the art of process analysis, which sets the philosophical foundation. Then we get into the practical techniques, first identifying value and waste, which separates necessary work from inefficiency. Second, documenting and prioritizing the issues, which brings structure to our findings. And finally, we will explore root cause analysis, ensuring we solve the problem and not just the symptoms. Why call this the art of process analysis? Because it requires human judgment, interviewing skills, and the ability to look at a problem from multiple angles. It's not about complex math, but about systematic investigation. The chapter sets three primary goals for us: to identify unnecessary steps and waste, document issues across all stakeholder perspectives, and understand the root causes. As Tom DeMarco wisely put it in the opening quote, quality is free, but only to those who are willing to pay heavily for it. That heavy payment often means putting in the detailed qualitative work to find and fix the underlying inefficiencies. The very first step in our toolkit is value added analysis. The core idea here is to break down every task into its smallest possible steps to determine what is truly necessary. The textbook gives us a great example. If you see a task called check invoice, that's not a step, it's a sequence. Retrieving the purchase order, matching the amounts, confirming goods were delivered, and verifying banking details. Value added analysis forces us to scrutinize every one of those micro steps, which brings us to the three ways we classify work. By every step into one of three buckets: VA, BVA, and NVA. First, value adding work. This is the stuff the customer is willing to pay for. Our litmus test is simple. If we removed this step, would the customer perceive the final outcome as less valuable? If the answer is yes, like the steps involved in actually repairing a washing machine, then it's value adding. Second, business value adding work. This doesn't delight the customer, but it's crucial for business to operate legally and smoothly. Examples include regulatory compliance, risk management, or creating a purchase order for internal accounting. Third and primary target is non value adding work. This is everything else, steps that don't add value for the customer or the business. It's NVA. The steps are pure waste, and they are what we must eliminate or automate. Complementing value added analysis, we have waste analysis. This technique, famously originating from Toyota production system, asks us to actively hunt for mutta, the Japanese term for waste, everywhere in the process. The seven classic waste can be easily grouped into three categories: move, hold, and overdo. To make them easier to remember, let's dive into each of the seven, starting with the move. It relates to movement of materials, information, or people. Transportation is the movement of work items. The visual on the left, figure 6.2 from the textbook, is a perfect illustration. Every time a flow line crosses a lane, from the site engineer to the clerk or from the clerk to the works engineer. That is transportation waste or handoff. Handoffs cause delays because the receiver is usually busy. Motion is the movement of people. The book gives us great examples. Physically moving tools between inspection stations, or more commonly in a digitized office. The digital motion of a service agent constantly switching between three different software applications just to book one appointment. This unnecessary clicking is effort that adds zero value to the customer. Category is hold, related to work that sits stagnant. Inventory or work in progress or work in process is cases that have been started but not yet completed. The key concept here is unrealized value. Whether it's 50 loan applications waiting in a queue, or as the text suggests, cars waiting for a second inspection. Work in process ties up capital and resources without delivering value. Waiting occurs when a resource, a person, or a machine is unavailable, or when a person is waiting for a task. For example, a travel request waiting for an approval signature is a task waiting for a resource. The opposite, a technician waiting for the next car, is called idleness. Both extend the total cycle time, which annoys the customer. Finally, we have overdo, which involves doing too much or doing it wrong. Defects or rework is simply work done to fix a mistake. If an expense report is sent back because a receipt was missing, forcing the employee to resubmit that work, that rework is defect waste. It is the most costly and obvious type of waste. Overprocessing is unnecessary perfectionism, doing more work than is necessary for the outcome. For example, spending hours formatting an internal report when the manager only reads the three main bullet points. And overproduction is producing work that doesn't add value upon completion. The textbook highlights the case of a sales team that generates 100 quotes, but only 10 becomes orders. Those 90 rejected quotes represent wasted effort and resources or overproduction. Once we have identified all the waste, we need a systematic way to document and decide which problems to tackle first. This leads us to the next section, documenting and prioritizing the issue. With the stakeholder analysis, the fundamental idea is that different people see the process differently. We identify five key groups: the customer, who cares about speed and quality; process participants or the frontline workers, who care about workload, rework, and clear instructions; external parties or suppliers, who care about smooth integration and predictable interactions; managers, the process owners, who care about cost and compliance; executives, or also called the sponsors, who care about strategic alignment and overall business impact. By interviewing all five groups, we move past one person's opinion and achieve a 360-degree validated view of the process health. The issue register is our master list. It's a central table designed to transform qualitative complaints into structured, analyzable data. As you can see, it requires key fields for every issue. Beyond a simple name and description, we captured the data assumptions, the numbers behind the issue. Most importantly, we captured the qualitative impact, the human cost like frustration or annoyance, and the quantitative impact, the financial cost like the $60,000 in extra rental fees per year. The structure ensures every issue is characterized based on the real business impact. With the issue register complete, we apply the Pareto principle or the 80-20 rule. In business processes, this means a small minority of issues are responsible for the vast majority of the cost or dissatisfaction. The chart on the slide shows unnecessary rental expenditure. The bars show the individual cost of each issue. The line shows the cumulative percentage, and we can see that the slow approval issue accounts for 78% of the total cost. This chart immediately tells us to focus all our efforts on fixing approval delays first, because that will give us the biggest financial return. While Pareto tells us the size of the price, it doesn't tell us how hard it is to achieve that. That's where the pick chart comes in. The pick chart adds the second dimension, difficulty versus payoff. This helps us balance quick wins with major strategic projects. In the top right, challenge items are high payoff but hard to do. These are your major projects. The top left, implement, is the sweet spot, high payoff and easy to do. You should address these projects immediately. The bottom left, possible minor tweaks you do if you have spare resources. And the bottom right, kill, should be avoided entirely because the payoff doesn't justify the efforts. We now know what to fix and which issue is to be fixed first. But before redesigning anything, we must know why the issue is occurring. This is the purpose of root cause analysis. The goal is to move beyond the symptoms and find the true underlying causes. We use two powerful techniques here, cause and effort, or also called fishbone diagram, for categorizing or possible causes under structured categories, and YY diagrams for drilling down into a specific causal chain using the 5 whys technique. The fishbone diagram, also called Ishikawa diagram, is a categorization tool. The head of the fish is our issue, for instance, equipment rejected at delivery. The main bones are the high-level categories of causes. The most common framework is the 6 M's: machine, method, material, man or people, measurements, and milieu. Milieu is also known as external factors like customers or suppliers. As you can see in the figure, a clerk selecting equipment with incorrect specifications is classified under material because the specification data was wrong. This framework helps ensure we explore all the possible angles and don't just blame the person. The YY diagram is the drill down tool. It asks, why did this happen? Recovery until you reach a factor that is fundamental or can be resolved. Let's trace the rental fee issue. The issue is billed IT often pays late payment fees. Why? Because the confirmation process is too slow. Why? Because the clerk needs confirmation from the site engineer. Why? Because the clerk can't verify delivery dates. Why? This leads us to our first two root causes. Data is not in shared system and the engineer can extend the rental security. Then we branch. The site engineer is slow to confirm the invoice. Why? Because confirming invoices is not a priority for them. This is a third root cause. By mapping the chain graphically, we identify the points where the process breaks down, gives us specific targets for improvement, like implementing a shared data system. This brings us to the end of our toolkit. Before concluding, I want to leave you with one final crucial slide. How all these pictures are fitted together. If you take away one single thing today, let it be this workflow. This is the structured, systematic approach to qualitative process analysis. Discover. You begin by assessing value versus waste using value added analysis and the 7 waste. Capture. You gather all the facts using stakeholder interviews and document them formally in the issue register. Prioritize. You decide which issues are worth your time using the Pareto chart for financial impact and the PIC chart for the feasibility. Fourth, analyze. You find the truth using the fishbone diagram for categorization and the YY diagram for tracing the causal chain. Lastly, step 5, act. The entire process is gathered here. You now have the evidence and the root cause identified, giving you maximum confidence to enable effective process redesigning. You solve the real problem and not just the symptoms. In summary, qualitative process analysis is essential for diagnosing the health of any business process. Our toolkit focuses on value added analysis, 7 waste, Pareto and PIC charts, and finding the core truth with fishbone and YY analysis. Mastering these techniques transforms process improvement from guesswork into a systematic result-driven discipline. Thank you for your attention. I hope this overview has clarified the powerful set of tools available in Chapter 6. Thank you.